We have given them repeated warnings. We have asked them to move. For some reason, vanhu vanongoda kungoriska. Zimbabweans like kuriska. Semukomana uya akashandisa $5 yake kutengapo kune salad yemaonion. What we have done as a city, we now have a committee that is solely responsible for disasters or for emergencies, as it were, which include fire, policing, and other natural disasters or disasters that might not be natural that befall a city. We have set up that committee. We are also going to set up a protection unit within that committee to service that committee, which will work similar and in close cooperation with the civil protection unit. We are having issues where we need temporary shelter as a city, transporting people, foodstuffs, and responding to natural disasters, as it were, that befall a city our size. And we will have that unit. A resolution is still going to be passed, which will work closely with the civil protection unit, which will be able to respond and give timely warnings and service areas where citizens or residents of Harare might come under natural or unnatural stresses, so that we are able to respond as a city and minimize the damage, and also to do preventive measures to protect people, to give warnings, to avoid building in wetlands, to avoid building in unsafe places, and also create a situation where people operate. You know, we normally have fires around the Glenview complex and other areas. We now need to take preventive measures, and there's a way you can design a living space and a working space to avoid those things occurring. Those who were legally given areas to stay will be given other areas. Those who are illegally occupying will be encouraged to apply legally, so that they can be sorted and processed through legal channels. But what is clear, it is unsustainable for people to be staying where they are staying. Some of the stands or the houses are in the middle of what I would call a river or a flood plain. So this is going to occur almost every year if they remain in that place. So we want to make sure that they are relocated to the better places, and that that we avoid these things becoming a regular occurrence. We are going to increase our policing department and our development control. Part of it is about manpower, and part of it is that some of them are abused or taken advantage of by land barons and space barons who pretend that their areas are legal and give them fake papers, and they come in en masse. We have a national housing crisis as a country, and not only as a city, and we need to work together with the Ministry of Housing and as cities to come up with plans on how we house our populations. That we have a housing crisis cannot be overemphasized, and that we need the national stakeholders. We might need a national fund to deal with housing. We need to reinvest in national housing societies or building societies as we used to do. What is clear from us and everybody else is that something must be done in terms of dealing with the housing crisis. Yeah, we are going to end it. We are going to create bylaws that criminalize issues of space barons and land barons. We are also going to speak to the National Prosecutor and the Attorney General's office that the next time they put bills in Parliament, they must make space baron and land baron a specific crime. That is the selling of land that does not belong to you. I mean, if you sell something that does not belong to you, you go to jail for a long time. Now we have whole people who sell land and there is no specific crime that targets them. So, and there are also no specific measures that make them compensate the victims of their fraud. So this is one of the crimes that we are going to be pushing as a city council and as cities countrywide, that it must be space baron, land baron must be a specific crime, and that victims of those things must be able to get compensation from space barons and land barons, some of them who become very, very rich. And so we are going to engage. If the Parliament is slow, we have the the power to issue bylaws, and some of our bylaws can have criminal effect. And we will certainly look into that and ask our legal department to draft such offences so that we nip it in the bud. We are going to restore those areas to their original use. Those were our paddock farms. So we are going to increase our head. We are going to make sure that we fence the paddocks, and we are going to make sure that they are used for what we intended them. For that is that part of our cattle is part of our water reticulation system, our sewer system. So we are going to fence them off, and we are going to put them to the use that we originally intended the land for, which is the paddocking and the recycling of our sewer water. There are a lot of adverts that are coming out. Those adverts are coming out from fraudsters. Should you get such an advert, please inform the City Council so that our policing department can deal with those fraudsters. We are not doing those processes. We are not part of those processes, and they clearly are intending to put people on land that does not belong to them. We are not in the process of regularizing illegalities. If you were in that place illegally, stop building, stop constructing. There are going to be tears at the end of that process. We will not regularize illegalities. We will not reward illegality. We will not reward theft. So that is basically theft, and it is negligent and a lack of wisdom or proverbial wisdom for you to build on something that you know does not belong to you, something that you know the person who has given you the right to stay there does not have that authority, and you continue building a mansion that is building a mansion on sand. The City Council will not regularize illegalities. There is a way one gets land from the City Council, land from government, land from a private actor. People must follow that process. It is there on our website. We constantly will advertise it, but it is dangerous to go on a piece of land with no paper whatsoever, with no stress of illegality whatsoever, and then expect council to then regularize that illegality. It won't happen. We have given them repeated warnings. We have asked them to move. If you listen to their interviews, they've indicated that council has time and time again repeatedly told them that they need to move. But for some reason, vanhu vanongoda kungoriska. Zimbabweans like kuriska. Semukomana uya akashandisa $5 yake kutengapo kune salad yemaonyeni. Saka vanhu ngavambomira kuriska ne places to stay. If it's a flood plain, flooding will happen. If it's not a place where you are supposed to build, the place will be removed. So people must avoid this situation of risking with their hard-earned cash. Let's do things properly and avoid